You know, out of all of the modern presidents, there's only been one that's ever said, I not only own firearms, but I actually carry them too. And he has for over a decade. Well, those rights have been stripped away. And today I'm going to tell you why. I'm also going to tell you if he can get those rights back and what type of guns he actually owns. Of course, I want to hear your opinion though. If you agree or disagree with mine, it doesn't matter. Let me know what you think down below. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, going back to 2012, Trump has been very vocal about his gun ownership. He actually told, I believe it was the Washington Post, that, yeah, I own two guns. I have an HK-45 and a .38 Special Smith & Wesson. Two pretty nice guns, but there's actually a third that was listed. That'll come around here in a second, and I'll tell you about that one. Now, you know, and I know, and you know that I know that you know.
I know you. You know you. And I know you know that I know you.
That Trump has had legal troubles, going back now for a while. Now, whether you fall on the side that these are kind of politically driven, or if you think they are totally justified, at the end of the day, he's had to face quite a bit of challenges along with trying to again become president of the United States. Now, when he was indicted last April, NYPD actually said, all right, we're going to suspend Trump's right to carry. Now, they do it a little bit differently up there, right? They will basically say, hey, what guns are you going to be carried? And those are listed on your permit. Well, Trump had two guns. He turned them in March 31st, the day before the indictment went in or whatever deadline was there. They asked about the third one. He said, well, I legally moved that one down to Florida. So NYPD actually contacted Florida and said, hey, we believe that Trump has another firearm at Mar-a-Lago, so basically do what you need to do. Now, still, to this day, I cannot find any information on that third firearm. And I don't know if Florida ever even pursued it, to be quite honest with you. I have zero idea on what that third firearm is or if it was ever turned in. But seeing as Trump, I can't really see him playing any kind of political game like this, knowing that, hey, he was indicted, 34 felonies, and convicted at that, or a potential to be convicted. I don't think he would have put that into jeopardy, right, of him being a felon in possession of a firearm or even under indictment. Now, we know that Trump was convicted on 34 counts, and this all revolved around money that was paid out to Stormy Daniels. So at that point, NYPD said, all right, now we are revoking his carry permit all the way around. Now, normally I would say that, hey, President Trump has Secret Service, so they're able to keep him safe. Well, we all know how that has kind of worked out as far as management at Secret Service in their ability to keep Trump safe. But at the end of the day, you and me, we don't have that. And to be fair, Trump didn't have that for the longest time. So even under indictment, before you're convicted of anything, you can have your gun rights stripped away. It's almost like a form of a red flag law. Like, hey, we believe, or a grand jury believes, that you've done something wrong enough that we're going to go forward with that indictment, and then if you're proven innocent, well, then you can have your guns back. If it's somebody like me or you, though, what the heck do you do for a year and a half where you don't have access to your firearms? And this is no different for Trump and the fact that his rights were trumped, right? It's not like we're talking about some kind of violent offense here. I'm kind of surprised that NYPD didn't go even further to try to push for access to that third gun or to get Florida involved more than what they did. Again, I haven't been able to find any information about any action that Florida took, nor information on that third firearm at all. But here's the thing. Even after he was convicted, because it's a Class E felony, he can actually get those rights back because of where he was convicted. New York is one of those states where you can have your rights restored. If this had happened in Florida or South Carolina or a lot of other states, he wouldn't have been. So that is very beneficial to him. Now, unfortunately, he's got to wait 3 years. 3 years before he can apply for what's called a certificate of conduct, which basically says that you have been restored and you're able to go back into society, and you're basically able to, you've been reformed, essentially, is what they're saying. But again, you have to wait 3 years. Now, a misdemeanor is 1 year, and I don't know, some of the other classes might be 5 or 10 years. But here's part of the problem. You have so many non-violent felons out there that have to wait 3 years, plus the year and a half or a year from the time the indictment starts or the arrest starts to the time whether you're guilty or not guilty ends. How many people out there have lost their rights because of something silly like this? This is not something that somebody should lose their gun rights over. And look, I feel the same way if there are people that are felons that are reformed, that come out of prison and go back into society, right? If you trust that they are reformed, they go back into society, then they should have all of their rights restored, including their gun rights. Now, I believe Trump has 90 days to appeal the revocation of his concealed carry permit. And again, I haven't been able to find much on this. Even when he applied for the permit, it was under actually like secret terms or terms of secrecy, whatever they called it. But it wasn't made like public like that. But still, having one of the only presidents that's concealed carry, he knows about it, he's done it, and to have those rights stripped away for something like this, in my opinion, I think is just total BS. And again, it kind of goes to the fact that they don't really care if Trump is protected or not. Yeah, he's one of the most loved people, but he's also one of the most hated, and we've seen that over the past couple of months. And unfortunately, he doesn't have the ability to protect himself anymore. So he's totally dependent upon Secret Service, and not only Secret Service on the ground that's with him every day, but the people that are in charge of planning as well. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of ways that you can lose your gun rights, and it doesn't have to be a violent felony. It doesn't have to be some of these extreme cases. When you hear about felonies, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is something violent and terrible. And, you know, look, if you break the law, you got to pay for that, obviously. But there's just some punishments that do not fit the crime, and that's kind of what I see in this situation. But again, that's my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. What do you think about this? Should Trump have had his rights taken, or do you think they should have been with him the whole time? Do you think this type of felony really should not be considered for losing your gun rights at all? Let me know what you think down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down. Hey, make sure you check out Headshot Nation. It is the one and only gun and motorcycle community on the entire internet. And this is a place where you can actually start your own threads. You can do video requests. You can talk to other community members and get your answers. You can actually get early access and ad-free and exclusive videos as well. It is one of the best communities on the entire internet. Make sure you check out the link down below in the description.